do. Put on. Make sure my phone is on silence. Now buzzing. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Reject Rundown. Nice little episode. I know it's late, but man, here in the Chicagoland area, there was some bad weather for show and a lot of dangerous. Everyone had to go to the basement. Everyone was screaming kayaka, kayaka. Oh, I mean, no, it's not wrong thing. It wasn't Godzilla. But it was a tornado.
Wrong
But yeah, wrong film. Yeah, but it was something else. So we had to whip something up real quick and make a nice little episode because I got it. We got to talk about some good stuff. It's Thursday, man. Old man, I've developed this little thing going on here, and I'm glad you're joining with us because we're going WWE style, throwback WWE style, right? This has been going around a little bit, and let's get into it. We wanted to do a what to watch Wednesday type of deal when it came to matches, but since time crunch plus the weather wasn't beneficial for us, we flip this up, make something else, but also make it a little fun. So, old man, say what's up to the fans before we get on to it, though. Old man RJ.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? I'm Old Man RJ. All the play the game, and the only man that plays all the games is Shane.
So yes, so we're getting into it. WWE old style. Old man, I call this one throwback to what should have happened in WWE instead. Change up things,
but
right?
You're not just talking about WWE. You're talking about WrestleMania in particular, right? From what we were talking about.
It seems like it. It seems like most of these matches that occurred were a lot of WrestleMania moments, and WrestleMania is a couple weeks away, man. So maybe that's why I was stuck in my noggin there a little bit.
No, it's good because, like you said, WrestleMania is just a little bit away from us right now. So it's not bad to have something to talk about during WrestleMania week, or actually WrestleMania month.
Yep. So that's why I'm like, let me develop something and actually put something out there real quick for the fans, those who are, wrestling fans too as well, just like myself. I dibble dabble. I dibble dabble in there a little bit. I'm not saying I'm the expert in the crew or whatnot. I'm really not, you know what I mean? But I do want to talk about some stuff because history, man, it's history. It's throwback history type of deal. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Right?
Yeah.
So
no, I get you.
First thing on the board to throwback is what if we would have gotten a Batista versus Brock Lesnar at a WrestleMania moment, which in my mind, where it could have fitted, right? It could have fit somewhere at what was WrestleMania 30. All right, because Batista was kind of thrown in that mix of a triple threat match, right? Between Daniel Bryan and who else was the champion? Triple H?
No, Randy Orton.
Randy Orton. Okay, he was kind of thrown in the mix over there. But what if it was actually Batista not in the mix of that triple threat, and he would have fought against Brock Lesnar that year? They're both hot. Batista had just returned to WWE. I know Batista. I believe so too. Yes. And these guys, in my mind, I don't believe they've ever faced each other like that and had a big feud against each other when they were at their prime in WWE.
No, they both faced each other, and I'll tell you right now, they both faced each other during a what's it called? I'm trying to figure out their kind of like like NXT is now, like a training camp for wrestlers like that. OVW. Their OVW days.
Yeah.
So they wrestled during that time, but other than that, they never sparred off at all. Especially in the years that they were in there. Batista was around. Batista was just barely climbing in the years that Brock was the big dog,
Yep. Yeah.
That's why the reason why they didn't meet is because Batista was on Raw when Brock Lesnar was the big dog on SmackDown. And Batista was just barely getting his name with Evolution.
Very true. Very true. And I know they had some moments when, Batista was when he was with the Legacy and he was kind of still, not Legacy, what are you talking about? What was it?
Evolution.
Evolution. When they were together and they were kind of doing some dibble dabble of, being the big behemoths and everything like that. And obviously Batista was kind of coming up as the big new monster, the animal, of course. But it would have been better off. It would have just been nice to see those two go head to head in a match. And I think that match would have been great. Like Batista always had great matches with big men, just like his style. Like his matches against Undertaker, his matches against JBL, his matches against who else was it at the time? You had freaking oh my gosh. Didn't he face freaking what's it? Oh my god.
Great
Bobby
Khali.
Lashley? Khali, yeah.
I know. Actually, I think he did. I think like some type of triple threat match or something.
Something like that. You know what I mean? Like that. Oh, at that time, it would have been nice. He would have been okay. They would have meshed well with it. I mean, suplexes would have been okay. Powerhouse, against the ropes, bruising each other. You got outside work and stuff going against the turnbuckle, breaking the freaking tables and such. Like, this would have been a solid match. This would have been a solid match if they would have, went off with each other, especially at WrestleMania 30 when WrestleMania 30 was, it was 30. It was like a big thing. It was a 30-year decade type of deal. So why not?
Apparently, if you look up on Google, they actually did face off in a dark match. Brock Lesnar crushed them.
And don't think that would have happened in real life. You know what I mean? I think that would have been something else. That would have been something different.
I think that was in 2003. So in 2003, I think the piece was barely coming up.
Yeah. They should.
And then in 2014, they were supposed to face each other during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they had a match that was being planned for them in 2014. But that was going to be at SummerSlam, so it was going to be Batista and Brock at SummerSlam, but it just didn't fall through.
Gotcha. You know what would have been nice too, though? It would have been nice to have Batista versus Brock at Hollywood. If they would have faced off in Hollywood, because if I'm not mistaken, that was also the time frame where they were going to retire. Like Batista was going to go to the Hall of Fame at that time. That was the word of the streets. You know what I mean? Oh, Jesse. Yeah, go Birds. We're not talking about NFL right now, man. We're talking about freaking wrestling, man. WWE style. What ifs? You tell me what should have happened. Your what ifs in WrestleMania moments. But yeah. So Hollywood, if you remember, old man, during Hollywood time frame, when WrestleMania went to Hollywood, there was a lot of speculation that, Batista was going to be the guy, the headliner that year. And then, obviously you would have had a match or whatever case would be to happen between those two. No, not those two, but at least with Batista. Old school WWE beast is crap y'all call wrestling. I agree. It would have been nice. It's just reminisce. Oh, Jesse, man, we got to reminisce sometimes, man. You got to think back about the old school times, man. You remember when we used to be all together, pizza days at WrestleMania moments, the rejects, all of a sudden we had, old man over here creating a freaking, storyline between all of us. And then he would, pick the tag team champions, or at least the tag teams who would go face off against each other. Then you had singles matches, IC matches, world championship matches, or whatever case it be. You remember that? You remember how we would all go, we'll be sitting in the living room, eating a pizza, enjoying some wrestling at first, and then all of a sudden there'll be random rejects going in and out of the bedroom because they're playing the game, and then all of a sudden the other guy's walking out like, Go ahead, your turn, go first. It's like, bro, it was crazy. It was wild.
For me, that was kind of more fun, man, was the fact that, some of the matches, how people call those bathroom matches? Did you realize a lot of times we had matches that weren't even bathroom matches, but people were in the bath for playing video games?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, Taker
what made it more fun?
Flair.
Oh, yeah. Good.
And Taker versus Ric Flair, I think in that match, on the other side, while that match was playing out, a lot of you guys were all watching a tag team match that was against the computers. And from what I remember, the reason why people were stuck watching a tag team match is because the computer.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
And so that was a fun match to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because only me and Randy were watching the Undertaker match, and it was against Randy Orton.
That was funny. Yeah. Mania 10 was pretty good. HBK versus Razor Ramon ladder match. That I agree with you. That was a good one. That was a really good one. I agree. But what made playing games like that was fun back in the day was kicking the crap out of your brother Tony's ass, man. Tell my uncle. Man, we used to kick his ass. No matter how many creative guys he would copy and paste out of and use for himself and just make some different dudes or whatever. It was no matter how many times he did that, he always lost. And then he always be like, "Oh man, the controller, man, the X button wasn't clicking right. You see, but it clicks right for you, but it doesn't click right for me." Ah, Tony, shut up, man. You lost. You just don't know how to play games, man.
It's funny because one guy that never faced off in a Mania match was Jesse. Dude, the minute we were gonna actually have a Mania match, he decided to run off to Mythical and hide.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. That was fun. That was really fun back then. Just to hear him cry. You know, it made it more fun too. Also, when we used to play freaking fight night boxing, like round the first one, right? First one came about, and I literally would, you know, I got my butt whooped. All right, I got my butt whooped quite a bit in the beginning, and Tony would take really good fun and really good, you know, advantage of the fact that I was there, you know, brand new to the game, and he'd be like, "Oh," you always giggle and laugh, and then all of a sudden, when I learned it, practiced it better, and then when it was time for me to actually make some runs, man, I whooped the crap out of Tony and playing a fight night game, man. It was awesome. And then he would cry like he normally does about everything, talking about my buttons don't work. I don't know why it works for you, but it don't work for me. I don't want to hear that stuff, man. You're freaking faker, man. You just jealous because I would be like, bam, 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 and knock you out, man. It's fun. It was good stuff. Good times.
No, you know the funny one? So I was watching a long time ago. Alex had a thing where if he was losing, he would turn off the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember one time Alex was actually beating Jesse, and Jesse makes a comeback. But Jesse's about to knock him out, and Alex goes out to turn off the game. So we finally told him, "Dude, you gotta at least lose once, you know? Like you gotta accept defeat."
That's right. Take a loss. Take the L.
Funny thing is that Alex finally decided to let it go. You know, he's like, "Okay." And he's playing, and the game resets itself when Jesse's about to knock him out.
See, crazy.
It's like, yeah, the game didn't want to see Alex lose.
Nope. That's funny.
But okay, if Batista and Brock were to face each other, it would have to be some type of street fighter, or because those are two big dudes, so it can't be like a regular match.
I agree. I think this match should have been like a stipulation at WrestleMania. You know, no holds bar, maybe even a Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. These two guys would have had a nice little solid match like that at a WrestleMania if they would have given the opportunity. Which WrestleMania 30 would have been ripe for them doing so. It's not like as if, you know, Batista was, you know, he had just came back that year, and it's like they would have done something else. You know what I mean? That would have been great. What the heck is this? The late great Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar. That was a good match. That was a great match, especially when he won the title. I give it to you there. All right, next one.
What if? Because Eddie was supposed to be champion and face off against Shawn Michaels at 22.
Yeah. See, now next what if over here, everybody. Bret Hart should have faced Hogan at WrestleMania 9. I think this is a big what if, everybody. I think you guys should have gotten that match. That match should have happened at WrestleMania 9. But old man, can you explain to me and explain to the fans too as well? What the hell happened and why didn't we get to see Hogan versus Bret Hart at a WrestleMania? When they were at their prime. This was it. This was the moment. Bret Hart was a fan favorite to peeps. Hogan was a fan favorite to the peeps. What the hell happened?
Well, apparently Hogan is not, rest in peace and all. But in
Recipes,
those
yes.
years, Hogan wasn't big on, like, Visa didn't, like, if the money wasn't there, like, if the picture wasn't there in his eyes,
Mm-hmm.
he wouldn't sell to Brett. And the reason why he didn't want to sell Brett is because in his mind, he didn't think that Brett was at par with them. Because he's like, here I am, this big behemoth Hulk Hogan versus Bret Hart, and it's like, how am I gonna lose to Bret? And that's his idea, I believe. That's why he didn't want to lose to Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, that was the dumbest decision because Bret was becoming the new it guy at the time.
Yeah.
So, like, Hogan wanted to, he could have handed that torch to Bret and let Bret go, and become the world champion and so forth. And 9 would have been Bret Hart getting the torch, making Hogan submit, which is funny because Bret has never beaten anyone except for Vince McMahon at WrestleMania with the submission.
Mm. Gotcha.
Everybody else, he's pinned them at WrestleMania.
Mm. And this is where I find that the situation sucks because this whole thing that occurred at that WrestleMania moment where Bret, he lost to Yoko, then all of a sudden he gets whatever in this scene right here that ends up happening. Hogan all of a sudden tries to help him out. Then he goes back in the ring, and then all of a sudden he faces Yoko, and then he beats Yoko for the championship title, and then walks away with the title belt. Like all of that blue blah, like that doesn't make no sense. It doesn't make any sense. That should have never happened. We should have gotten a solid one-on-one action. Bret versus Hogan. Egos aside. Like, put the egos away, you guys. You guys should have known that match against each other would have been one of the best of history. And because we all know Bret can work well with others when it comes inside the ring. He doesn't hurt, but he makes everything sell perfectly. Now, when it comes to Hogan, though, yes, he's not very safe inside the ring, but he knows how to draw in the crowd as he's wrestling and how the story continues, develops. That has always been one of my mind, the best things that comes with Hogan. He knows how to feed the crowd when it comes to that. He knows how to heighten them, how to hype them up, how to sit there, get their reactions up. Hogan knew how to do that. He knew how to do that. And this would have been that perfect time frame where it would have been, WWE's past versus WWE's present and upcoming head to head. And then this would have been the passing of the torch between Hogan and Bret and saying, "Here, Bret, take the reins. It's your generation now. I got to move on." And in essence, should have been where he moves off to freaking WCW. So, you know what I mean? That's what I find aggravating.
Yeah.
I find that aggravating.
Now, here's a question to you, though.
Mm-hmm.
With, let's say Hogan and Bret did it. Okay, let's say Hogan puts Bret Hart over. Do you think Bret Hart's championship run, because Bret Hart was champion in this match against Yokozuna. He was the world champion. He lost the belt.
Yes. Yep.
So here, it would have been Bret defending against Hogan for the belt.
Yep.
Which means it wouldn't be a significant change of, how you say it, the passing of the torch, because Bret had the torch. He had the belt.
Right.
But Hogan leaning down for him would have been like, all right, well, you beat me. I'm ready to leave. It still would have been a torch given to Bret.
Right.
My question to you is, would Bret Hart's run in WWE would have been different with Hogan losing to Bret?
It would have been different. Ooh, good question. Would have been different. I honestly don't know. That is a great question. Would have been different? Probably. But I think the only difference in what made Bret Hart's success in WWE was his communication to Vince. And I want to say that was the biggest piece of what made their relationship end sourly the way it did, and in fact, kind of get in the way of Brett's opportunity of wanting to do what he needed to do. Like it just would have been. It seems like a lot of this information that we get nowadays pertaining to Bret Hart's missed opportunities of what could have happened between this wrestler or that wrestler always seemed like, yeah, Bret had a good idea, but it always came with a cost. The more you spoke up against Vince, it seemed like that's what made you not get the opportunity that you should have. So in this case scenario, the opportunity, in a way, was affected because you kind of fought back. Now, you also fought back in a good way because you were saying it just doesn't make sense the way Hogan wants to lose or doesn't want to lose. In this case scenario, like it just doesn't make sense storyline. Like, I'm not saying that's all bad either. Great ideas, but I think because of the fact that that was already happening, and the more that continued with your career in WWE, that's where we saw Vince just end up saying, I just don't want to work with you no more. I don't want to work with you anymore, Bret. I think it's best that you go to WCW. You're better off there, more than likely. And that whole pay thing, like that was like, come on. Vince could have paid Bret for him to stay in WWE. It was just more or less of Vince just saying, we don't mesh. We don't communicate. I know we don't. As much as I love you and as much as you've done great for the business, and as much as when I needed you to do this or that, there were times you did, but there was also times you definitely didn't. Knowing in my mind would have been better. So it just would have made a solid moment, old man, but I don't think it would have changed Bret Hart's future at all whatsoever. Jesse. Good times. I agree. Good times. Yeah. It wouldn't have never changed. I don't think that would have changed Bret Hart's future. Whatever happened in WWE at the moment. It would have been a nice moment. That's it. It would have gave him his WrestleMania moment that he deserved, in my opinion. But it wouldn't change his career trajectory.
So my second question would be, all right, so, sorry. All right. I have to wash my hands real quick.
What the hell?
And back to
Jesse. He was shaking it, man.
my hands were like
Jesse, he was shaking it.
Reason.
Yeah, it was sticky, all right. You son of a gun.
My second question is, okay, now that happened, Bret Hart lost to Yokozuna, but let's say this was a different scenario. As we said, Bret versus Hogan, Yokozuna's not involved. Where does Yokozuna go here at 9?
I mean, at this point, Yokozuna was, in my mind, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, right here, Yokozuna was really at his prime. Like, he was kind of in his stride at the moment. So for Yoko, it wouldn't have really mattered for Yoko. In a sense, it wouldn't have detriment his future for WWE. He could have just moved on from the picture. He could have faced someone else. And at this point, really, to be honest, old man, he could have faced Undertaker instead of Giant Gonzalez, whatever his name was, if I'm not mistaken. Like that guy, Gonzalez. If I remember, this is the WrestleMania that he fought him, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Taker wasn't happy with that match either.
Right. So in this case, if we're going fantasy change up here, then I would have placed Yoko versus Taker, and Taker still end up winning it. And then Gonzalez moving on and doing something else. He could have fought in another match and just did a monster beat up other wrestler type of match and made him look cool in this one for him to keep going until eventually maybe the following year, then you would have had a Undertaker versus Gonzalez, possibly. So this is where I would take it. That's what I would have taken it, because now Yoko can still be a behemoth, but lose to a great one. And then at that point, Gonzalez not necessarily looking small, and Vince could still keep him looking like as if he's a big monster in WWE. That's would have been my change
In
up.
my mind, that's actually good. That's a good idea because Yoko and Undertaker would have been good. Taker,
Yeah,
yeah, Yoko would have been part of the list of Taker's, wins.
exactly.
Gonzalez could have been part of what's it called? Gonzalez could have been part of a what you call it, a battle royal. Have
Right.
kind of like Andre the Giant, just have Giant Gonzalez win the battle royal.
Yeah. So Jesse says he remembers when he used to beat old lady only in 6 rounds and forgot to save the game, and I was stunned. It was stunning your ass. 6 rounds, and the end you beat him because the boxer wore out.
I gave him a chance to in that fight. He came in as Alex the Great. I asked him, "Hey, do you want to?" I was like, "Dude, your guy is worn out. Do you want to continue?" Because it was 6 rounds. He told me, but I was world champion in boxing, and I told him, and this was fight night, I think. So I told him,
Yeah.
"Hey, dude, if we keep going, like, he wanted to face me for 6 rounds, but we forgot to save the 6 round options, so it was going to 12 rounds after all. So, which is actually a championship thing. If you want to be champ, you got to go 12 rounds.
Uh-huh.
So I actually paused the game at the 7th round before anyone sees what happened. And I told Jesse, dude, right now, if we decide, if you want to, I forgot to save it. If you want to, we could call it a game. We could call it quits, and you win. Or we can take it and I knock you out. Which one do you want? Jesse's like, no, no, come on, I'm gonna beat your ass. Come on, I'll beat your ass. I was like, you sure? Alex is telling him too. Are you sure you want to do that? Because I remember it was Alex, Tony, and me that were telling him, you sure you want to do this? Because you go in, you're not gonna come out with the belt. You're gonna come out stretched.
Yeah. That's funny.
So he's like, yeah, I'll fight you. Come on, I'm gonna knock you out. I was like, okay. We, I am paused, and when I am paused, all of a sudden everybody sees Jesse's stamina and health just dramatically went down. Everyone's like, oh. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, time to start giving them the works now. Because I rope doped them for 6 rounds, and I thought I was close to getting them in the 6th round, but the round ended before I could knock them out, and I was just like, damn. So when this game kept going, I just started lightly bouncing them until like the 8th round. I think I knocked them out. I was trying to get them to the George Foreman round, which was ninth, I think. But
That's
yeah,
funny.
it was pretty fun.
I
But
remember
Jesse's
back.
nobody sleep on, man. Jesse's a heck of a boxer when it comes to playing that game.
Nah, I used to beat Jesse all the time. He never beat me. I think he better beat me one time, but I used to beat him all the time. It was okay.
Man,
It was
Jesse.
weird. It was weird because you used to beat me a few times, old man, but Jesse never really beat me like that. I used to kick his ass. Just saying. But no disrespect, Jesse. But just saying. You couldn't even hold up my little canister of water. Just saying. I'm just talking shit. What should have happened, everybody, was the next thing on the board. Bray Wyatt should have beaten John Cena at WrestleMania 30, if I'm not mistaken, too, as well, man. WrestleMania 30 had some different outcomes that should have occurred there. And I think this was one of the biggest ones. John Cena should have lost. He should have lost. Bray Wyatt should have won this one. I mean, this isn't just only Bray Wyatt's only should have won scenario, because there are many, many opportunities where Bray Wyatt should have won in essence in his WWE career and his time frame at that moment before he left WWE. Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. But this was one of the biggest ones, and especially at the moment where you're facing the face of WWE and you becoming the new it guy, you're getting all this heat for when you're having the birds, the bees, whatever he does, whatever he did. My apologies. The fireflies, whatever case to be. Like, you had this great aura around you, Bray Wyatt, and for them not to recognize that, and for them to sit there and say, "I think John Cena should win instead," that's disrespectful. That's blasphemy. Bray Wyatt should have won that match against John Cena. Do you agree, old man, or do you disagree with me?
Well, ask me, what did Bray Wyatt do at WrestleMania 29? Who did he face?
Who do you face? I don't remember this one.
Nobody.
What, the BJs?
Bray Wyatt made his WrestleMania debut against John Cena.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
there you go. Okay.
Now, before you go anywhere, you are gonna soon. You're gonna talk about somebody else who made their debut and won. You weren't happy with that one,
Correct.
and here you're not happy with Cena being Bray
Wait.
Wyatt.
No. There's a difference in that one, and I know what you're talking about, man. There's a difference, but go ahead. Son of
You
a
know
gun.
what's the difference? It
trying
made more
to
sense
swindle me.
for Bray Wyatt to lose than to win.
What?
Because what did he do when they faced again at 36?
Oh, he did that Firefly thing, Firefly House, right?
Yeah. And at the end of the match, if you paid attention to what John Cena said when he lost to Bray Wyatt, John Cena said, "I'm doing now what I should have done back in the day."
Ah, okay.
You see, if he would have never had lost, you would have built Bray Wyatt. Yes, Bray Wyatt would have still been built, but who knows how far that run would have gone. Probably next year he still would have taken on the Undertaker, and he would have lost.
Okay.
So now you have Bray Wyatt defeating John Cena, losing next year to Undertaker. Who knows if he would have beaten Randy Orton? But the problem is the guy that was booking him just didn't care much about him.
Okay.
So that's why, in my opinion, it's not until he created this Fiend character that we got to really see Bray Wyatt at his best.
Yeah.
And imagine if Bray Wyatt would have been Cena, he would have gotten more of a face theme. He would have kept that theme song, that look. I don't think we ever gotten the Fiend off of Bray Wyatt because of the whole, I just beat John Cena, I'm now the good guy later on. You know, the company's following me.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why I'm like, in my opinion, he should have lost to Cena, which he did, and it made more sense. Especially because the whole storyline was that Bray Wyatt was playing mind games and using kids, which was like the one thing John Cena was trying to protect all the time.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll give you that. You made a good point. Once, I mean, you're allowed to have one of these once in a blue moon, old man. And I'm going to give you this one. Okay. You got a good point in this case scenario. I did not realize that was Bray Wyatt's first year as Bray Wyatt in general in the main roster. I thought that was at least year 2, 3 type of deal. So good one.
Well, we should not have gotten Cena versus Bray Wyatt. At that time, the two hottest factions were the Shield and the Wyatt family.
Agreed.
The Shield went against freaking. That's another thing. Why did the Shield have to go on and take on old ass Billy Gunn and old ass Road Dogg and Kane?
Oh,
at WrestleMania 30.
Okay, so at WrestleMania 30 we had what do we have?
We had the Shield versus DX. Well, the New Age Outlaws and Kane versus the Shield.
New Age Outlaws and Kane versus the Shield. How stupid.
Yeah. So would you have preferred New Age Outlaws and Kane? I mean, no, not those guys. Screw them. Respectfully, push them aside. New Age Outlaws out of the picture. Kane out of the picture. Probably in a different match. Probably the Battle Royal. But would you have preferred the Shield versus the Wyatt family at WrestleMania?
I think at that point at WrestleMania 30, yeah, I would have pinned the Shield versus the Wyatt family. This don't make no sense, man. I didn't realize this was occur. What the hell was going on at WrestleMania 30? Where was I at? I know I was watching it, but
You were just not paying attention to it.
I was definitely not paying attention to this. I'm over here sitting there. Oh, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be hype. Nah, man.
See,
saw this
I
card.
would have booked it that way.
No.
I would have had the Shield against the Wyatt family.
Yep.
And then John Cena would have taken on probably Triple H. No, not Triple H. I would have had Cena take on The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine this is already 28-0. He already 29-0. So can John Cena be 30 or would he be? Oh no, I'm sorry, 21-0. So would John Cena have been 21-1 or would John Cena have been 21-2? I mean 22-0.
Gotcha.
So
Bro,
I
there's
think
only
they should have gone that way. Or
eight.
Cena versus Brock.
This WrestleMania 30 didn't seem like it was a good one, man. This was 6 matches in total. No, 8 matches. You had the tag team match, which was what? TLC type of deal, because you had the Usos versus those, Spaniard guys. Then all of a sudden you had Ryback and the other dude, one of the other wrestlers, versus Cesaro and looks like Jack Swagger at the time. What the hell? Okay, so you had that one. And then you, like you said, the Shield versus Outlaws and Kane. Dumb. Then you had, Andre the Giant match, the Royal Battle Royal, which should have been a pre-show. Then you had women's. What was this women's thing? There's a match for the women's.
Originally, it was called Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal.
Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal.
Which, in my mind, it should have been named after Midget Burke, the girl who put women's wrestling on the map.
Yeah. Then you had Wyatt versus Cena. Then you had Brock versus Taker. And then you had Triple H versus Bryan. And then Bryan obviously won that one, so he was implemented into the middle, and it was Bryan, Orton, and Batista. This whole card sucked. I'm sorry. WrestleMania 30's card was by far, in my mind, the worst card to put on the map. The worst. Horrible. Dumb. Don't like it.
Bray
Don't
had
like.
a pretty cool entrance though.
I don't like anything about this right now, and that's my thing. Like Bray Wyatt should say that entrance for someone else, something different. Brock should have faced Batista. Orton should have faced Bryan for the championships. Triple H, don't even bother being involved in there. Undertaker should have probably faced, I don't know, Bray Wyatt that year then, if that's the case. My opinion.
Well, actually, it would have been the Wyatt versus the Shield.
Yeah, right. The Wyatt
so if you had Wyatt versus the Shield, you still need Brock Lesnar. Why not Cena and Lesnar one more time? With Cena trying to prove that Lesnar beating him was just like he wasn't having his game, so he had to prove himself to face Brock at WrestleMania.
I'm cool with that one.
And then Taker versus Triple H. No, we already had that one so many times. Taker versus Daniel Bryan.
But Daniel Bryan would have needed to win that championship because the fans were.
Yeah, because he beat Undertaker. Imagine. He had to beat Undertaker to go against Batista and
But he would never beat
Orton. Or
he would never beat.
Nope.
No.
It would be interesting because now what do you have to do to face Randy Orton?
That would have been nice.
And then Batista versus Brock. Batista versus in the triple threat.
I got it. Bryan should have won the Battle Royal. Bam! Right there. Bryan should have been in the Battle Royal. Had he won the Battle Royal as his own solo stipulation, right? His own solo stipulation. If he would have beat all those other wrestlers, that would have been, okay, you get your chance at the end. At the end of the night, you get the face for the title. If this would be one. Because if it's like Bryan would, let's say, for instance, Bryan won the Royal Rumble. Let's put it this way. Bryan should have won the Royal Rumble that year instead of Batista. He wins the Royal Rumble. Vince McMahon, Triple H, and all those other guys do not want him to win the title. So they give him another stipulation and say, you know what? You want to earn this so much? You go in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. You win that Battle Royal. You go again in another Royal with an extra 30 some odd men. You get your chance for sure. And if you do not win this one, then you're out of the company. You know what I mean? Like they do that stipulation. You're done with the company. You're gone, type of deal. So at the beginning of the night, you give a wrestler, because this wasn't a 2-nighter just yet, right, old man?
It was a one night.
A one night. So then you put Daniel Bryan at the beginning of it, and then he wins it, and then all of a sudden you have all these other matches. You have some promos in the backstage of Bryan winning, and him getting tired, him hurt, whatever case it be, him not sure if he can make it. Then him face to face with Orton at one point. All of a sudden, like, I know your weaknesses, so I'm a rattlesnake. Remember that. You better be careful. So you build us up. Then at the end of the night, you give us Bryan versus freaking Orton, and then Daniel Bryan wins it all. And the crowd still goes crazy, if not more, because of the fact that he did all that. The build-up would have been nice. What the hell are we doing here, old man? Let's get our asses over to WWE. Let's go in there and apply for some applications right now. These guys suck. Whoever.
So here's what the card would have looked like then. So the card would have been Daniel Bryan in the Battle Royal, in your opinion.
This is what, guys, let's put this out real quick. Oh, man. Time out. This is. No, not that one. That one. That's our reject rundown. This is a throwback to what should have happened at WrestleMania 30. Go ahead, old man. Continue.
I think we're just going to end up talking about WrestleMania 30 the whole episode. We'll use the other ones for other episodes. We got a whole road to Mania anyways.
Yep.
Okay, so WrestleMania 30. We'll go with Daniel Bryan being in that Rumble, in that Battle Royal. Okay. Next, don't forget you had the Women's Championship. AJ Lee defended it and kept her belt, so we can keep that match the way it is.
I'm fine with that one.
No worry about that. Okay. The other one, you would have had Brock versus Batista.
Okay. Yep.
That should have started at the Royal Rumble with Batista eliminating Brock Lesnar, Brock not being happy. And now we had to have Brock and Batista because Brock wants his win back.
Okay.
Okay. Next. Now we get the hype off of that. Then we get the tag team match. I would have had, I think the New Day was already becoming a thing by that time. So it could have been New Day versus the Usos.
Okay.
So probably that would have been the tag team match if New Day was a thing. That could have been also in the pre-show. That didn't have to be on the main show. So from there, let's go with the Wyatt versus the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up, just they challenge each other. We have a match. Would have been cool to see the Wyatt family against the Shield and see how that played out.
Mm-hmm.
Then Triple H versus Kane, because Kane was working for Triple H's team.
Okay.
So it would have been good to see Kane finally open his eyes and turn and face Triple H.
Okay.
And then Cena versus Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been, I would have had Cena take her done instead of 34, where they both could have taken a longer time.
Okay.
And you never know if Cena could have beaten Taker done and been 21-1, or if Cena would have again taken the fall against Undertaker.
Okay.
With their main event being, they show the fact that Daniel Bryan had to go to this Battle Royal. He won the Battle Royal. And now he has to go against Randy Orton. And that would have been your championship match. That's the way I think I would have booked it. What about you?
All right. That'll be fine. So booking it, if we're going booking, now real quick, I'm going to put this out there for Jesse because he did that. There should have never been a Rock versus Cena part 2. Disagree with that one. Prime Taker versus Prime Goldberg at WrestleMania. Who wins? Prime Taker.
Keep Goldberg away from Taker. Look what he did to him.
For real. Leave him away from that. So if I would have done WrestleMania 30, switch up this card the way we're talking about. Now, mind you, I just looked up. The New Day didn't form until later that year of 2014. So it was after WrestleMania 30, actually. Okay. So that's when
probably
their formation.
Usos versus New Age Outlaws.
In essence, yeah. So this put it this way. The Usos could have ended up facing the old school New Age Outlaws because obviously you would have wanted, old school versus new school. And at that too, Usos tag team champions, Outlaws are like, we can get one more shot at this. Let's get this. We'll get the win. We'll get the victory. This would have been a nice little whatever moment in the beginning. Now, before that though, I agree with you. This should be match number 2. Match number 1 should be for sure the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, which should have been Daniel Bryan involved, stipulation, winning. Outlaws versus Usos, match number 2. Match number 3, Females Battle Royal, perfectly fine. Match number 4, the trio tag team of Shield versus Wyatt. Match number 5, I would have, in general, had a stipulation of Brock versus Batista. Overall, I would have definitely had those two going at it with each other when it came to even before that. This should have been a proper build-up instead of, whatever they were given. This should have been Batista's return, him trying to get the opportunity at the Royal Rumble, of course, but that's when you meet the Brock versus Batista. That's when the matchup comes and collides there in Royal Rumble. So that's where they develop the feud. That's where they say, you know what? You've always kind of been in my way. You never really wanted to face me. You've always been scared of me. All this type of talk going against each other. So this should have happened. This should have been a nice little build-up between each other. And then we get that WrestleMania moment, which should have happened at WrestleMania 30 between Brock and Batista, right? That should have been where that match should have gone, okay? Now we end up going, now let's put it as Undertaker, right? At this moment. I'm not going to lie. I just, for him to have someone to face against at WrestleMania, it just needed to be someone to bypass at this point. And for him to beat O'Kelly. I'm not going to lie, I would have pinned John Cena versus Undertaker here. And for that, there's no title on the line because at this point, the titles are on Randy Orton. Randy Orton has both titles. So this should have been the match where John Cena versus Undertaker at WrestleMania in general. They could have had this one-off match or whatever, like Undertaker chose John Cena because he's been the face of WWE all this time. He, obviously he lost the title. He needs to kind of get him to be back this ruthless aggression, this type of talk. It wouldn't have been anything big. It just would have been the match for Undertaker to have a nice solid match to move forward till next year. Plus, safe match. His age was getting up. This was after the Shawn Michaels time frame. This was after the Triple H time frame. So he's kind of already been beaten up over the last 4 years. All right. He's kind of tired out a little bit here. Let's give him a nice little solid, safe match, which should have been against John Cena. Triple H, don't need him. We don't need him involved unless he does come in the main event and join Randy Orton and try to hold off against Daniel Bryan as much as he can. As much as he can to keep Daniel Bryan away from
the idea.
Right? You know what I mean?
What if Triple H, instead of Batista, it would have been Orton, Triple H, and Daniel Bryan?
Or even then, that's fine too. Put Triple H in the triple threat. So that way he kind of helps him. Like, it looks like a 2-on-1 throughout the whole match. Another obstacle for Daniel Bryan to face against, right? Another obstacle. Can the yes movement continue? No, I don't think so. Obviously, it doesn't look like it. Daniel Bryan's getting his ass whooped every step of the way. He's getting tortured, beaten, bruised between Orton and Triple H. One miraculous moment, Daniel ducks out of the way. Triple H hits Orton. Orton looks up and says, oh, you hit me? Oh, you gonna hit me? I thought we was cool. I thought we was teammates. I thought this was us versus him. But you gonna hit me. Oh, you done messed up. I'm the legend killer. Batow. You know what I'm saying? Hits him with the hit RKO. Knocks Triple H out of the picture. Here comes Daniel Bryan out of nowhere. With his little kick that he loves to do. Wins the match. You know how
don't forget.
Go ahead.
You know what would have been more interesting? You had 3 big legends that were at that Mania that day. Let's say Triple H called out his friends. So you had DX, they were bad guys at that time. Outlaw, they were the bad guys. Kane was a bad guy. So these guys come out to help them fight Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
So what if all of a sudden the glass broke and Stone Cold came back?
At that time,
and well, then again, Rock was at that Mania too.
They were both at that Mania. Now, see, this is where you kind of get a lot of the, now you're trying to drag all that stuff in like they did for WrestleMania 40 or whatever just happened recently, 40, 41. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of is coming to play. I don't think we would have been ready for that just yet. I think Daniel Bryan in the whole triple threat match would have been just fine because remember, the last triple threat match that we had for a championship title was Chris Benoit. They had him involved in it against Triple H and Shawn Michaels. So WWE needed a triple threat match to kind of erase a little bit of that to say this was a better triple threat match to highlight it more in their history books, in a sense. So you would keep it clean. Now, I don't mind the whole Kane thing. I think Kane would have joined just because this was his authority era type of Kane. This was his becoming of the businessman, the corporate guy. So more than likely, he probably would have hopped on in there, choke slam Daniel Bryan. Didn't work. Daniel Bryan still overcomes that. I think that's would have been the case. But that's where I would use that for sure. So at the end of the day, that's my card. That is my card, man. WrestleMania 30, bam, could have been better.
I agree. It could have been.
Janitorial position at WWE. I'm cool with that. I think so. I think we could do that. We cleaned up their act real quick.
They'll call us the cleaners.
Yeah, that's right. We just clean up their shit all the time, man. Some real. They sucked. All that stuff at WrestleMania 30 they booked was trash. Oh man, trash. Well, not all of it. I mean, that match between Daniel Bryan winning the triple threat, okay, we got it. But could have been better. Could have been better.
And that entrance that Triple H had was pretty bomb ass too. I mean, he's always in that entrance.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was very nice.
That was cool.
Oh man,
very nice.
I guess this should be it for the day because it's already 11:55, man.
Is it? Damn, man. All right, one more.
All right.
I gotta put it out there. Sasha should have beaten Bianca at WrestleMania. Which one was this one? WrestleMania 37. 37. Mm-hmm. That's where they faced. They should have won because you brought it up. This should have happened. All right. Sasha should have won. I'm just saying out there. I'm putting out there in the whole wide world because I believed in Sasha. I did not believe in Bianca just yet. If I'm not mistaken, like I told a man in the green room, Bianca was her first year, and then all of a sudden she's headlining WrestleMania next to Sasha, being the first black female superstars to headline a WrestleMania, making history of all things. And then all of a sudden you give the dub to Bianca. Hell no, man. Sasha should have been in there because if I'm not mistaken, Sasha has been in the first of everything that became women's wrestling at that time. First Hell in the Cell, first ladder, first tables, if I'm not mistaken, TLC or whatever case be, something like that, similar to. And then now here, first headliner. I don't know. Now you got me looking.
I don't think they have. I know they've done ladder. I don't think they've they done a tables match. I know that for sure. They done cage, Hell in a Cell, Last Woman Standing. I think they done that one also, and then I Quit match. I don't think women have done that Quit match yet.
Time out. Yes, there has. First ever female tables, ladders, and chairs match. WWE history took place in TLC tables, ladders, and chairs pay-per-view December 16, 2018. Asuka defeats Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair. Oh, this was a triple threat match. So no, you might have been right, old man. There was a match at TLC, but there was no TLC match. That's crazy.
I think it was, but it wasn't like the typical, tag team ones.
Yeah. Sasha, WWE.
And then again, almost everything that Sasha's been in, the first of everything, she lost. First NFL, she lost. I think, and we can't say the first women's cage match because we had cage matches before her. First, Iron Woman's match, Iron Joe match, she lost to
Oh,
Bayley.
Iron Woman match. Yes. Come on, man.
So yeah, and Bianca, I think, even though it was her first year in the main roster, she was actually in NXT for like 2 years or so.
Right. She was a big thing in NXT. I'm not look, as much as I don't want to disrespect Bianca in the sense like, well, you know what? Let me be honest. At that time frame, I was on her ass. I did not like her. Okay. I didn't like Bianca. I wasn't a big fan of her. I was talking shit. I'm gonna admit to it. I'm right. I'm wrong when I'm wrong. I was talking a whole lot of shit against Bianca. I was not a big fan of her at that time, and I was super pissed off at the fact that they were pinning her in the first ever with Sasha. But then I got it. Okay, I eventually understood, but I did not like the fact that she won that match, and I was even more mad and made me talk more shit. But respectfully, Bianca, respectfully, the work you've done, WWE, work you did prior to, deserves respect. So my bad. You earned that position, but you didn't earn the. I don't think you earned the W. I totally believe Sasha should have won that one. Totally believe. All the work that Sasha put in WWE prior to deserves that dub. Just saying.
The strange thing is, I feel like Bianca was giving and I hate to put it this way, she was under the McMahon era. McMahon's
Yes.
always been into those big behemoth, big overpowering wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
She was given that Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Hulk Hogan run. That's why, if you look at it, she was almost undefeated until Vince McMahon got fired.
Yeah. And that too, you're right about that. During the Vince McMahon era, she was she was one of his disciples in a sense, as far as like his pet project at the time of wanting to make the next superstar, the next big face for women's wrestling. She had it. The whole hair, the gimmick, everything. She had it. She did. I agree. She still does. She has the aura behind it. And it's what Vince McMahon likes. But history needs to be respected. That's where it's different.
I agree with that. I think I was actually going for Sasha because Sasha had not won a single match at Mania yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she has too, unless she finally won one. I can't remember when. We have to look it up and see, but I don't think Sasha Banks has ever won a WrestleMania match.
I don't know. I gotta look at that too. See, look, at least 7 first ever. So I want to look at this. Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, participated in at least 7 major first ever WWE matches. First ever NXT Iron Man match. First ever Women's Hell in a Cell match. First ever Women's Royal Rumble. Elimination Chamber. She was one of the first. Inaugural Women's Tag Team Champion. She was one of the first. With Bayley. Women's main event at WrestleMania. Obviously, 37. Women's Tag Team Championship match again. Won at WrestleMania. Again, 38 afterwards. But still. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, her and Naomi. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. Her and Naomi won the belt.
So it's come on. First ever for Sasha, and yet she gets the first ever loss at WrestleMania. A headliner like that. No. She deserved the dub. Just saying. I'm not a big fan of Sasha now, just because of how she kind of carries herself a little bit here. I think after she left WWE and after she left her scenario with her spouse and whatnot, the attitude you could tell definitely changed. Now, if it wasn't a great relationship, I don't know. I'm not going to get into all that, but I think there needs to be. I think it just feels like there's just that big vendetta, and maybe I know for a fact. We all know for a fact WWE did her wrong before she left. So whatever animosity she has, it's well deserved against WWE. It just sucks that she should have won at that WrestleMania moment. She should have. She should have for sure. This kept her in the books twice. But
And
yeah.
that's the thing. I think I like. I know Jay Cargill's barely the champion now in WWE, but I like Jay Cargill's run more than I like Bianca's because of the fact that it took Jay 2 years to get the world title.
Mm-hmm.
When in Bianca only took her like just several months when she joined the main roster.
Yeah. Makes no sense to me. It's crazy. Wild. It is what it is. But that's how you know they care about Bianca right now. And and my thing, yeah, exactly. That was Vince McMahon. See what happens when.
But here's the other thing: Vince McMahon and the new WWE, they have very bad taste in booking.
Yeah. Obviously, we've realized that at WrestleMania 30.
Because this year, I know Bianca's out, but imagine she wasn't injured. Would you have, instead of Rhea Ripley, would you have Bianca versus Jade?
I actually, yes, you would and should have that match just because of their history and their beef that they still somewhat have prior to. You know what I mean? Like all that storyline that kind of built up to that beforehand at Elimination Chamber and past that WrestleMania moment, and plus beginning of this year, that kind of carry on. You should have had that match. It should have carried over to this WrestleMania, and then at that point, ended this story afterwards. So yeah, I would.
Then the question would be, if those was to be the match, Bianca versus Jade, well, who would Rhea Ripley face?
Rhea would have ended up going against. I think you would have gone against AJ. You would have picked them too. You would have picked her against AJ for the other title, in a sense. But I think AJ, I think at this point you would have give AJ a WrestleMania moment and have Rhea had already have the title defended against AJ, and then more than likely, I mean, either way would have been bad. You would have picked Rhea to win. She beats a legend. At this point, AJ, it's not like AJ doesn't seem to me. AJ does not seem like she's gonna stay full time. I think she's only doing this here and there, so that way it just kind of helps what's going on with WWE. So with this, it would have been okay for Rhea to win at WrestleMania and then AJ lose, but this would have been a nice match.
I would have put Rhea Ripley versus Tiffany Stratton. The reason why is because it would have made sense to have the newest big girl that's going around take on Rhea Ripley. Kind of like it's still, is it still her house right now type of match.
Yeah. Well, against who? Trish?
Tiffany Stratton.
Oh, Tiff. Nah, I don't know. I'm good with Tiffany.
Yeah.
I'm not even excited with Tiffany. I don't even. Is she even involved in WrestleMania? She ain't, right?
I think she's going to face Julia for the U.S. Women's title. The
Oh,
U.S. Women's title.
I mean, I don't need it to happen I really don't need it to happen, no man. I don't need it to happen. I think that should just wait until Monday Night Raw. I'm not a Tiffany fan. I'm not a Tiffany time person. I'm really not. I don't look, it's entertaining, and she's had great matches. She's had some solid matches, especially what was it? It was last year WrestleMania where she busted her teeth. No?
Charlotte did. I forgot what Charlotte did to her, but Charlotte hit her hard, to bust her teeth.
And bust her teeth. It was after that moment I said no. Why? Because Tiffany didn't own up to it. Tiffany lied. She kind of stuck with it like, no, it wasn't. One teeth wasn't bad. Nothing was wrong. There was a little something and I just had to fix. Girl, you knew damn well you busted your teeth and then got it fixed that same night and then ended up coming on air, whatever, two nights, I think, for SmackDown, and then your teeth are fine. But you kept up with the lie.
Or should Rhea Ripley taking on Stephanie Booker?
No, we're not ready for that. We are not ready for that match. Nope.
So you're better off with, or what about she's trying to get their win over Io Sky?
Right now we're not ready for that either. Nope. I don't
think
this
AJ would have been the right picture.
Yep, AJ would have been on the right picture, right time. I think because you don't really have in the men's matches like a veteran versus the young guns type of deal. I don't think we have one right now.
No, not at all.
Right? We don't even. Okay, yeah, people can sit there and say Orton versus Cody, but it's not. It's like as if Orton's not been present all year. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we don't really have that veteran. So why just keep that on the female side? Have that veteran versus the young guns to see who matches over, who crosses over. So I would leave it there. I would definitely keep Stephanie and this Liv Morgan feud that's happening right now, because this feud is nice. This is actually happening at the right time. And Stephanie versus Rhea, it's not time for them just yet. They are about to collide, and they're gonna collide, and their storyline is gonna be fucking nice. But I feel like their storyline is meshed and tailor-made for next year, more than likely at Saudi, if that's where it's gonna end up being. That's a next year thing.
Now, Chelsea Green was been hurt. Should Chelsea Green have been in a WrestleMania match? Should she be the one facing Julia?
Oh, I would agree with that one. See what I mean? I would have put her in there. Fine. Perfectly fine. But Tiffany, no, keep her out. I'm cool with her staying on Monday. And Chelsea, put her in there for that. Chelsea would have swapped. I would have swapped her out of what matches did we put at, man? Oh, man.
For 40? For 37?
No. For this upcoming WrestleMania.
Where are we at now? Yeah. I don't think we've done anything to change this. That's a good way to start how we would change this year's WrestleMania. We could probably talk about that next time we do a show.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up the card that we were talking about last time. I need to see their matches. What do we have? So we had the Gunther versus, don't switch that one out. So Gunther versus Rollins, Williams versus Sammy, the females tag team. See that whole females tag team thing? Take it out. I don't need to see it at WrestleMania. That should be for over there. That should be where you put Chelsea. That's where you put Chelsea. You put Chelsea versus who?
Versus Julia.
Julia, right? For the whatever championship that she gets.
Women's Championship.
U.S. Women's Championship. That's where you put her at. You switch that tag team fatal 4-way crap. Get it out of there. I don't need a Bianca Belair in that one. I mean, not Bianca, but the Bella Twins. I don't need those two up in WrestleMania. Now, if you still want to keep them in there, put them in the dark match, man. Put them in at the pre-show. It's still out of WrestleMania. They can still get their WrestleMania victory and tag team championships. Then that's fine. Give them the only one pre-show match that will last quite a while, whatever, before everyone gets their butts in the seats and then all set to go. That would be that match. No. That's crazy. Well, yeah, we'll swap that out. That'll be the one I will swap out. But the rest of the matches, you kind of keep them as is. And we could probably dive deep in there and change it up if you want to.
I think by next week we should have a full card.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
right now,
Io's kind of feel like Io and Asuka are gonna face each other.
6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so 6-6. So 12 matches and all 6-6. Yeah, we might end up getting 14 total.
And the only one that's missing is Grande Americano versus Grande Americano WrestleMania style.
That would have been nice. That would be nice. They need to have a WrestleMania moment. Grande Americano had a great WrestleMania moment last year. Now this year, he needs to know one. He needs to step his game up.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. They need to do something.
Yeah. All right, man. We are past time limit, 12:13 already. I appreciate you stepping on in with me real quick. Have a little chat up. And those who tuned in, appreciate you guys as well. We're wrapping it up. 12 at night. We got to get some sleep. It's going to be Easter, Good Friday coming up. So you guys have some, good treats and stuff. But we'll be back for sure. Friday night, 11:30. Catch us here. Reject Rundown. And then we still got UFC, though. Still got UFC to watch on Saturday night. Yep, okay. Saturday. I do believe their card is already done. I already did the layout and stuff, but I think there was a match that was canceled, so I got to look and see if they added a new one, which does seem they did. Looks like they did add one more match. So I got to put that up there. Good. All right, man. I will see you then. Okay? See you tomorrow night.
Good night. Yeah.
All right, you guys. You guys take it easy. Have fun. We'll see you on to the flip side.